Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Food Experience. And today's experience, I got something cool to do right now for St. Patrick's Day, a very non-traditional type of meal. I'm going to be making some Texas red chili, kind of like a hybrid of it, from scratch. And I'm also going to be making from scratch some cornbread in the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven. So first, before we start the chili, we got to do some preparations. And I'm going to save the cornbread for last in this video, since the chili needs some time to cook and develop. First, I'm going to brown some beef, and then I went ahead and kind of pureed an onion, and we're going to add that to there as well. I also added a little less than a tablespoon of vegetable oil, kind of get it going faster. And I truly believe it helps the meat not dry out as much. And I'm using 80/20 beef that I got from the butcher counter at the market, and it's slightly over a pound in weight. First, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Instant Pot on slow cook. Unfortunately, the first part of my video got cut off, but I went ahead and browned the beef, and then I added about half an onion that I pureed with the Ninja Master Prep Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and add all that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add about 8 ounces of beer. I'm using Negro Modelo dark beer, and I think I'll drink the rest. Why not? I'm also going to add a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce. Going to add a tablespoon of tomato paste. Going to add about 1 cup of tomato puree. Go ahead and get that all stirred in. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of beef powder and a teaspoon of chicken powder. Stir that all in. Going to add a couple pinches of Mexican oregano. About a half teaspoon of paprika. A little less than 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. Now I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup of chili powder. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And let's go ahead and give this a stir. I'm also going to give a couple dashes of ancho chili powder. I want this to be a nice, rich, and hearty chili. I also got a couple dried habaneros that I'm going to add. I've kind of got them finely minced up. And let's give another stir. Going to add a couple dashes of garlic powder. And that's actually smelling really good, but it's got a lot more to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and let it simmer for about an hour. Maybe stir it a little bit in between. Go ahead and put the lid on. Make sure the pressure release valve is open. Next, I got some applewood smoked bacon from the butcher today, and I'm going to cook a few strips of bacon, and we're going to chop it up and add it to the mix as well. First, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Maxx to air fry. And then I'm going to go ahead and increase the time to 20 minutes, give it some time to preheat, and I'm going to cook it at 365. Let's go ahead and hit start. I'm going to go ahead and use 4 strips of bacon. Now the Maxx is up to temp, the air fry light has turned solid, it's no longer blinking. Make sure you guys use the preheat function. You'll know, because when you first start any of these functions, the lights will be blinking, whatever one you set. And after it's done preheating, the light will turn solid, and then and only then should you put your food in the Maxx. That way you could achieve the best results. So let's go ahead and throw the bacon in. I have it on the steak tray comboed with the drip pan. I get the best results this way, I really do. So we're going to put it in the regular air fry position. And it should take about 7 minutes, I'm guessing. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick stir of the chili. Nice and piping hot. Smelling pretty dang good. Alright, let's put the lid on and wait for the bacon to finish. Alright, the bacon's been going about 6.5 minutes. Let's go ahead and take it out. Oh yeah, it's definitely looking done. Gonna go ahead and put it on some napkins. They also recommend adding a little bit of bacon grease to the chili, so I'm going to go ahead and drip a little grease out of the pan. There we go. Going to go ahead and give it a stir. And look at that, the bacon comes out so perfect in the Maxx. It's not totally crisp, and I didn't want it to be. It's a little pliable still, but it's definitely more than medium done. So we're gonna go ahead and chop this up a little bit. I'm not gonna make it totally small pieces. Chop it up a little further. That should be good. Now let's go ahead and add the bacon into the mix and stir it in. And that's definitely getting nice and thick too. It's been probably about 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and cover and let it finish for about 15 more minutes. All right, the chili's been going for about an hour. Sure is smelling pretty good. Now we're gonna go ahead and add a few more things. I'm gonna add a little bit more garlic powder, a few dashes, a little bit more ancho chili powder. Go ahead and stir that in. A little bit more cumin, some chipotle chili pepper powder. This is starting to get nice and thick though, as you notice. Super thick. Check it out. Yeah, that's nice. Also gonna add a couple dashes of smoked paprika. I'm also gonna add a teaspoon of Carolina Reaper powder and about a teaspoon of Trinidad Moruga scorpion powder. Now that's gonna bring on some good heat. Get that all stirred up in there, and it's super thick. And I can see all those bacon pieces in there. Boy, this is gonna be good. But so super thick, and it's gonna be so nice and spicy. I'm also gonna add a little dash of water because it's gonna go ahead and simmer for about another hour before it's done, or before actually the last thing that I dump into it is done. Let's go ahead and put the top back on, close it up. While the chili is finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the Maxx onto oven mode. Gonna give it a bunch of extra time to allow for preheat. Maybe an hour. Now we'll go the full hour and a half. That way it has time while I'm making the batter. And we're gonna leave it on 375 degrees and let the preheat process start. So first I wanna let you know that the cornbread recipe belongs to Recipe Tin Eats, and I'm gonna post a link in the description and a pinned comment letting you go back to her site so you could see the ingredients used and the quantities used of each ingredient. First, we're going to go ahead and whisk together the dry ingredients. Make sure everything is well combined. And when you go to her site, you'll see measurements, and I've translated them all to weight. All right, that should be good. Now let's add some wet ingredients. Now let's add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and make sure everything's well incorporated. I probably could use a hand mixer. I have one somewhere, but I think this will work just fine. Alright, that should be good. Her recipe states to put the pan in the oven, let it heat up, and then butter it. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Sometimes I'm a little bit different. But I'm going to go ahead and make sure the pan is thoroughly coated with butter, using unsalted butter. That should be good. A little more in the corner here. All right. I went ahead and cut out some parchment paper. I want to put it on the bottom because this bottom of the pan does tend to stick a little bit. It's kind of lost its non-stick over time. So let's go ahead and pour the batter in. Use a spatula, get it all in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little shake so make sure it's distributed evenly. Should be good. Meanwhile, the Maxx is definitely heated up to 375. The bake light is solid. Let's go ahead and put it in. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it off for a sec. Go back to oven. Set it on 25 minutes should be good. She recommends 25 to 30 minutes, so I'm going to check it after 25. I don't want to get it too dried out or anything. But here we go, let her rip. The cornbread has been going for about 20 minutes, and it is definitely showing some cracking on the top. I'm going to take a look at it real quick. Let's go ahead and test it. Yeah, it's pretty dry. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and put it back in, but I'm going to blast it with a little bit of air fry action to get a little bit of a golden top to it. Kind of deviating from the instructions, but it's a cool thing to do when you have a convection or air fryer oven. 375. And away we go. Should be ready in a couple minutes. Alright, it's been going for a couple minutes, and it looks like it has browned on the top a bit. I bet it's going to be perfect. Let's go ahead and turn off the Maxx. See what we got. Oh yeah, it definitely has browned a bit on the top. I certainly don't want to overcook it. I'm going to let it cool off for a couple minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and see if it removes easily from this pan. Meanwhile, the chili is looking really, really good. It is super thick. Do a little taste of it here. That's good. That's really good. Oh yeah, and it definitely has some of that super hot heat. For a lot of people, this would be very, very spicy. For me, it's like a nice spicy. So we're getting into the final stages. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of masa harina. It's like a corn flour, and it'll thicken it up a little more, even though it's pretty thick on its own. And let's go ahead and stir that in. I don't know if I could show you yet, but look how thick that is. Look at that. This is going to be so good. Let's give another taste. That's bomb. That is some bomb chili right there. I'm going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to let it go for another 15 minutes or so, and we'll check on the cornbread in just a minute. Alright, it's been a few minutes. Pan is very warm but not hot anymore. Let's go ahead and see if this comes out. Fingers crossed on this one. Never done a cornbread before. Oh yeah, came out so nice. Let's go ahead and remove that parchment paper. It smells so good. Let's go ahead and see if I can flip it back up without injury. There we go. Yeah, it's nice and moist too. I mean, it's definitely got a sponginess to it. It cracked a little bit on top. No big deal though. Now let's see how it cuts. It's a little bit crumbly, but not too bad. It's actually in the center, super nice and moist. Yeah, some of it's crumbling off, but it's still really super moist. I can't even begin to tell you. Oh wow, it tastes good. Yeah, so the cornbread came out really tasty. I probably let it go a little bit too long, which is why it crumbles. But boy, is it good. That is a super tasty cornbread. And right about now, the chili should be finishing up. Let's take a look at it. All right, so everything is good to go. Man, I got a ladle. Let's go ahead and pour some chili. I mean, this stuff is super thick. Look at this. Oh yeah, look at that. And we're not done yet, but wait, there's more. Gotta put some cheese on it. And what I've done is grated some cheese from a block of white cheddar Scotch bonnet cheese. It's really spicy cheese and it's super smoky. So I'm gonna go ahead and top it with that. Here we go. Oh, that's gonna be good. That is gonna be so good. Lastly, let's go ahead and top it with a little dollop of daisy. Little sour cream. All right, so that's what I'm looking at. And this looks so good. I'm gonna go ahead and mix the cheese in a little bit. Get it all nice and melted in there. All right, let's give it a try. Wow. It is rich, it is hearty. The beef is good, the bacon I got, it's super spicy. That cheese brings on another smoky presence. Try it with some sour cream. Oh yeah, that's good. This is like one of the best chilies I've ever made and I've ever had. I mean, this is just so tasty. And it's got a good kick with the Carolina Reaper and the Trinidad Moruga Scorpion powders I used. And that Scotch bonnet white cheddar cheese, wow, it adds such a nice smoky dimension to it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and top some cornbread with it, right? Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. That is so good. Mmm. God, that is so good, guys. Wow. Here's a piece of the cornbread by itself. It has a nice brown top to it, a nice crust. It is moist. Has a certain sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. Mmm. So good. So, you know, this is like totally spicy. I think for anyone that likes like really spicy food, they're gonna say this is probably like a 5 or 6 out of 10. It is totally spicy. My head, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna show you my sweat. Wow. I am like totally sweating from the heat coming off this chili. And I'm not talking about temperature heat. I'm talking about spicy heat. And that's the way I like it. I love chasing the heat. And this is just perfect for me. Couldn't have gone any better. So what I'm gonna do is there's some people I need to give credit to. For the cornbread recipe tin eats, I'll post a link in the description where you could find the recipe for that, because I really didn't disclose any ingredients or anything like that. And for the chili, I got the basis of the chili from Uncle Jerry's Kitchen. I'll also post a link to that in the description down below. It's quite a little bit different than the way I did it. He doesn't do the different dump-ins like I did of the different ingredients. And there's some other changes that I made to it along the way to make it spicier. Plus I had to substitute some things because all the ingredients that he used weren't available at my store. But nonetheless, it's a good place to check out the recipe. And if you want to follow my recipe, just write everything down that you saw in the video, because I'm not really going to write it out or post it. A lot of it was kind of trial and error as I went along, and I did some tasting along the way to kind of add things and make it the way I wanted it. So really, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this experience of chili from scratch, cornbread from scratch, cornbread in the Kalorik Maxx air fryer oven, chili in the Instant Pot. And yeah, man, I had a good time, and I hope you guys had a good time watching as well. And I want to thank you all for being a part of the food experience. And my channel is definitely growing. I mean, like last week I was at 500, and this week I'm at 600, and I think I'm at like 620 people right now. And I really can't wait to get over 1,000. Tell all your friends about the food experience. Once I get over 1,000 people, I could go live with YouTube mobile that I'm not able to do right now until I get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What do you got to lose? I got a lot of good stuff coming up. So that being said, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please drop me a line down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love interacting with you. You could even interact with each other. Always a fun time. So, until next time, take care, have a stellar day, be excellent, and most of all, remember me. I'm KJ Andy O, your food experience host with the most. Take care, my fine folks, and I'll see you next time. Laters!